Alright, we have a 2017 Volvo XC90 T6 Momentum. We're going to talk about putting this vehicle up on 4 jack stands on all 4 corners. This one does not have the air suspension. If you do have the air suspension, I think the only difference is there's a setting you need to hit on the center screen before lifting the vehicle. But one thing to note before I get into this, there is no proper way to put this vehicle on 4 jack stands. It's designed to only be lifted by a shop lift. So pretty much everything I'm doing goes against the owner's manual. There's nothing in there about doing this. So I'm pretty much just trying to make it work the way that I can make it work. This is an older vehicle. It has about 100,000 miles on it. It's 7 years old. So I'm willing to do, whatever I want to do with it. So you make your decision on what you want to do with yours, but this is how I've been doing it. I have 4 of these ESCO jack stands with a flat top. The reason why we have these is because we're going to be putting these on the lift points under the vehicle. So if you look on the side here, there's a little arrow right there. The arrow points to this plastic puck. That's where you want to put if you were lifting your vehicle to change the tire, that's where you put the lift. That's where we're going to put the jack stand. The same thing on the other side, in the front of the vehicle. So in the front it looks a little bit different. You can see the arrows right there, and it's pointing at metal piece right here. It's got the 2 holes. You can put it anywhere on that piece of metal right there. Again, if you were changing a tire, you'd put your lift there, but we're putting a jack stand there. And you might notice that, so this is pretty flush. The one in the back is much lower down. So if you want to get your vehicle level, you need to adjust your jack stands accordingly. So the jack stands in the front are 1 notch higher than the jack stands in the back. So I have this on the bottom rung, I have that one on the top rung, and that should make it at least a little bit more level. All right, I'm on the rear passenger side here. We're going to do this in 2 lifts. We're going to do the rear and we're going to do the front. I got the wheel chocks on, keep it from rolling just in case. You can come in straight from the back. I have my garage closed. That's why I'm doing it in this direction. All right, so I'm underneath the rear of the vehicle right now. There's a few areas that you would normally use to lift up a vehicle like this. So normally you'd lift a vehicle by the rear differential. You can see that it's rounded. There's not a really good flat surface to put a jack on. I wouldn't feel comfortable trying to lift it by that point. But I mean, you could if you want to. You have some suspension pieces on this side. Same thing on the other side. But right here you have this center cross member. This big metal piece. Then you have this bracket right here. I'm going to be lifting it by this bracket. I don't love that idea, but this is the only place I can find underneath here that's any good for lifting. And it's right in the center, which is nice. So if you know a better spot, let me know. But as far as I can tell, this is a pretty strong piece right here, and it's been lifting it just fine. Right, as you can see, I have my jacks centered up on the triangle bracket right there, and I'm going to lift the vehicle now. Alright, so it's lifted high enough now. In the rear. I'm going to slide this under. I'm going to try and not let it hit the plastic on the other side. Center it up real nice. Dude. rear driver's side. Alright, this is the front passenger door. I'm going underneath here. This is the place where we're putting the jack stand. I've heard people lift things by these brackets right here. For me, that's a problem because my lift is so wide. If I lift it here, I don't have enough space to put the jack stand there. There's a few other places under here you could potentially use, but you can see there's a cross member right here. Pretty strong. I'm going to go right in the center of this cross member right there and lift the entire front end of the vehicle in one lift. Alright, so I'm putting the jack stands under now. I'm putting it at the furthest point. So there's 2 points there. I'm picking the outermost little circle here to place this jack stand. Same thing on this side. Here it is. As you can see, it's pretty level. We've got a pretty good amount of space under the tires there. Plenty of space underneath all 4 corners. Yeah, but as you can also see, they're all very inboard, which isn't great. So if you're really like pushing it around a lot, you're probably gonna want to put some other jack stands somewhere under this vehicle just to keep yourself safe. Something else I wanted to mention is you may be tempted, like me, if you already have a set of jack stands, to buy these inserts that you can put on them to give them that flat surface. Look at this. This is like, I wouldn't be comfortable being under a vehicle that had something like this put together. These 3-ton ESCO jack stands are like $115 for a pair. So all 4 of them, it's not cheap, but it makes this job a lot easier. And you know, you want to be safe. And lastly, if you don't need to take the wheels off, if you're not doing brakes or anything like that, even if you're doing brakes, you don't really need to lift the whole vehicle, but if you're not doing the suspension work and you don't have to put it on jack stands, it's safer to put it on wheel cribs. I bought this set from Race Ramps. It's 2 pieces. I have another video on this that you can check out, but it's a pain to put the vehicle on the race ramps. I have to lift it from each 4 corners and then for 1 level, and then I have to add the extension on, put the extension on my lift, lift it again from all 4 corners to put the second one on. But I think 1 is probably about the same amount of space that you're seeing here. So yeah, but once it's on the wheel cribs, it's super safe. So you can kind of decide what you want to do. These are really expensive though, these wheel cribs. So I could totally understand why you would not buy those and you would just try and figure out how to do it with the jack stands. And so just one last time, I'll just, put this warning out there again. The front and rear lift point are not the Volvo recommended lift points for this vehicle. I chose to do that myself. I risked damaging my vehicle by doing that. This vehicle has kind of an interesting frame situation, which makes it so There's no great place to lift it anywhere other than the 4 designated lift points. It seems to be aggressively designed to only want to be lifted in a shop. So anything you do, you have to kind of make your own decision on whether it's worth it for you. Alright, so before I close out this video here's a rear lift point. The biggest concern was that this bracket would bend. It didn't bend. There's some little bit of black rubber from my jack on there. But as you can see, no issues anywhere. So under the front end here, you can see some marks from where I lifted. But as you can see, the frame, subframe, no bends, no damage, and no issues. Alright, and that's it. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. Thanks for watching.